Test. Hey, it works. Hey, what's up? All right, now that we have everything fully functional, we have audio, we have video. This is what happens when you restart a stream PC. All of you streamers out there probably know it's a terrible idea to restart your PC because nothing works after. The big camera decided that orange was going to be its primary color today. So I had to adjust that, so I apologize for the late start. When you open up your stream software and you're like, yeah, we could just go ahead and start. Doesn't happen that way. What's up, guys? So my name is Ben. I am the builder today here at Empower Gaming Computers. I'm going to be building out Andrew's awesome PC. We've been planning this build for, Andrew, what do you think? A couple weeks now? More than that? We have some time invested. So super excited to get this built for Andrew, finally, so that he can start using it. Hola, what's up? Oh, hey. Yeah, Andrew's here too. Look at that. Hey, what's up, yo-yo? Face blue smiling. Nice. That's how it comes through in the chat, sorry. I can see it's an emote. What's up, what's up? So we are streaming to YouTube, Twitch, Kick, Facebook, and X, also known as Twitter. So we're streaming to all those platforms right now. And again, my name is Ben. So let's go ahead and get started with Andrew's build. I'm going to go ahead and flip over to our... well, before we do that, actually, Andrew, you had mentioned you have a special code for your community. That we set up for you. So if you want to drop that in the chat anytime, feel free to do that. But Andrew has a code if you are looking to get a custom PC. I am offered him a code to his community, which will get you 5% off, and Andrew will actually get a little bit of a kickback as well. So everybody wins. Thank you for that follow over there on Twitch. Both the follows. Another stream from the GOAT. Thank you, Geesh. I appreciate you, sir. I should have been following. That's all right. Time is blurry for me. I know, time is blurry for me too. I hear you. Loads of stuff when we are chatting, I know. Hey, what's up, Steve Anderson? Welcome back to the build show, sir. Let's go ahead and get to a top-down view, and we're going to run through the build-out for Andrew. All the parts that we have spent all this time selecting. And I do have a little bit of a surprise that's kind of seeping out right there. Let's move that out of the way so we don't see it yet. For Andrew. Just a little, you know, throw that in there. Had to do it. Okay, so starting off, we have our CPU, which is our Ryzen 9 7900X 3D, which has got 12 cores, 24 threads, and a maximum boost of 5.5 gigahertz. So this is a pretty beastly processor. No, it is not matching the core count of, say, Intel, but the benefit of going with AMD right now is that you are investing in a socket, which is the AM5 socket, that you will be able to upgrade up until at least 2026. So you're not going to be stuck with a motherboard that doesn't have an upgrade path and a CPU. So this combination will allow Andrew in the future, let's say AMD releases a new CPU, which is, you know, 25-35% better, and it justifies an upgrade. He'll be able to purchase that CPU, just the CPU, drop it into his board, and boot up. Maybe it might have to do a BIOS update in between, but overall, that makes the upgrades a lot easier in the future. Rather than Intel, with Intel right now, if you were to purchase a 14900K, for example, on a Z790, you'll be stuck on that platform because the next CPU that they release is not going to be compatible on that socket. So you'll have to purchase another motherboard. So that is one of the main reasons why I have been pushing a lot of people to AMD, and a lot of other people have recommended AMD as well, mostly just because of that reason alone. You're not investing in a platform that has a dead end. Andrew, are you coming into Texas tomorrow? I'll let Andrew answer that one because I have no idea. Been Intel since birth, I understand. I know. There's a lot of people that still want Intel just because it's Intel, but AMD's got a really the better upgrade path currently, future-proofing the PC. Nostalgia show in Grand Rapids. Nice. So I hear you. I hear you. Steve over on YouTube, on Prime Day, I upgraded my boot drive with a Samsung 2TB 990 Pro. Love this drive, almost 7,500 read and 7,000 write. Yes, that is a super fast drive, but earlier on, when they first released the 990 Pro and I think the 980 Pro, there were some issues that was sucking the life out of those drives, meaning they were lasting shorter than what they should have. Oh, what's up, man? What's up, Barra? I call you Bar... Is it Barra? Or Hustle? I don't know. The names. But welcome back to the Build Show, sir. Anyway, so that's the CPU that we're running with, the Ryzen 9 7900X 3D. Next, we do have a contact frame. I like these. I try to use them as much as I can. Simply, you don't really need it for this socket, but I use it for really just keeping the thermal paste out of the socket. It helps keep it clean. And then next up, we have our RAM, which is, what do we go with? 64, right? 64 gigabytes of DDR4, 6000 megahertz CL30. So super fast timing on the RAM. 64 gigabytes is a lot of RAM, and it's DDR5. And this is the G.Skill Flare X5 series. If you're not familiar with it, it is a series specifically released for AMD Expo. And since we're on an AMD platform, you want the AMD Expo kit, certified kit. Talking about the motherboard, it is the Asus ProArt X670E Creator Wi-Fi 6E ATX motherboard. Say that twice as fast, and just try it. Let me know how it goes. Anyway, this is the ProArt series. It's a great looking motherboard. It's a high-end motherboard. Has tons of input on the back, and also tons of features for adding more storage, etc., which will actually be filling this board out. But he'll have more SATA options as well. So lots of different storage options still available on the board, even though we're filling it out. All right, and the next up is the cooler. This cooler is actually really hard to find. I found that out when we decided we're going to go with this cooler, but it's very difficult to find. One thing I didn't check was a compatibility. I assume it is. What my concern is that this was released before AM5. It should work regardless, because AM4 and AM5 are the same socket size-wise. But I'm just curious if it had like AM5 on it. More of a curiosity than anything. You would dream about motherboards. My dream motherboard. Does he actually dream about motherboards, though? This is cool to watch. I'll wait till we actually start opening things up and putting things together. But the Silent Loop 2 by Be Quiet. If you're not familiar with the Be Quiet brand, this brand is known for its excellence around trying to keep things whisper quiet. So their fans are designed specifically, their coolers are designed specifically, their power supplies are designed specifically to keep things quiet. We also are going to be building in their case. So it's a super cool case that we're going to be building in. So really the theme of this build is to keep things nice and quiet while also keeping it cool. But the Silent Loop 2 by Be Quiet is a significant, quiet, and exceptional cooling 360 millimeter AIO. Says it right on the box. So this thing's a 360 millimeter radiator with 3 120 millimeter fans and a pump that I believe which is right on the block, and we'll be mounting the radiator to the top of the case. The power supply that's going to be powering this entire system is a Be Quiet Straight Power 12 world-class quiet and efficient 850 watt power supply. And this is, I believe, the platinum version of that. Yeah, 80 plus platinum. And then we also have an additional Be Quiet 140 millimeter fan that I'm going to add to the case, because the case only included 2 in the front. I want 3 in the front. And then we have some pretty cool RGB strips that we'll use just to add some flavor to it. Our storage options If you didn't see this already, we have a stack of SSDs here, M.2s, but we have multiple 2 terabyte M.2 SSDs here, which are Western Digital SN850Xs. It has 7,300 megabits read, and I believe the write speed is really close to that as well. I think it's like 6,800. And then we also have an additional third drive, which is a 4 terabyte Gen 4 drive. Same speed, same model, just 4 terabyte over the 2 terabyte. And then the graphics card, mostly we're not going super heavy on the graphics card because we really just wanted it for display. And maybe if he wants to use it for encoding sometime in the future, we went with the Asus Dual to match the motherboard, the Asus motherboard, 4060, which is just an 8 gig GDDR6 card. It's OC edition. Nothing super crazy on the graphics card, but it's really there for providing 4 display outs. So you can hook up at least 4 monitors on the graphics card, and then possibly additional 2 on the motherboard with the APU if you needed it. So grand total of about 6 screens. Ben the Builder, what's up, Geesh? Thanks. The more LEDs on the motherboard, the more power. That is actually a myth that was busted. So the Mythbusters have already busted that and has proven that it's not actually true. Solid. Hey, I ran a 960 for like 10 years. You know what? I ran a 970 for probably around 8 or 9 years. So you don't need it. You don't need it. You're happy with it. You're happy with it. Doesn't hurt. But this is a fantastic card that is very efficient, so it doesn't draw a lot of power. And I recommend it if you're just looking for display. For the price, it's a little high. You probably could find some cheaper options. There are definitely, but I wanted to kind of keep the theme going here with Asus and get the latest card so that there's no possible compatibility issues 2 years from now. So, all right. Without further ado, you guys ready to build this thing? I know Andrew is. Oh, last thing. The case and this. So, I don't know if you are into this color, Andrew, but I thought it would look cool with the parts. These are power supply cables, extension cables. But they're gold. So I didn't know if you wanted a little bling inside your computer or not, but I grabbed these for your build and I thought they would go well with it. You know, instead of just having the black cables, throw a little gold in there that kind of stands out. So I grabbed those for your build. And then the case also, we didn't really touch on the case really quick, but we're going to be building in the Be Quiet Silent Base 802. So if anybody's familiar with that, it's the base 802 model, so it doesn't have the RGB or anything on it. It has a tempered glass side panel, front panel mesh, or you can put the insulated panel on the front and then it'll quiet things down, though it does restrict airflow when you do that. On the front and the top you have the option to do, and it will restrict airflow. But if, let's say, you're doing a recording and you need your PC to be quiet real quick for like 25 minutes, you could put that on there. It's suffocating it a little bit, but it will make things super quiet. Hey, oh, what's up, Dad Bods? Welcome back to the build stream. Yeah, love it. Dope. Awesome. Your name is amazing. Yes, Dad Bod's name, or Dad Bods and Drop Shots, his name is, I think, what we all dream of, right? When we're playing Call of Duty. Barack Hustle, gotcha. Sorry, over there on YouTube, I've been not reading that chat. I installed Hard Info 64 to keep an eye on the drive. Nice, Steve. Nice. I mean, as long as you bought one of the newer ones, the 990 Pros, Steve, over on YouTube, it should be all right, because they've fixed that problem with, I think, a firmware upgrade. I think they also have a firmware upgrader tool that you can use to make sure you have the latest firmware on your SSD if you need to. Thank you, changed it from my old one. Fuzzy Bunnies. Well, I'm not going there. All right, so let's move some of this out of the way, and we'll get started with the motherboard, the CPU, RAM, and the SSD. Here we go. Is Alex excited to start this thing? Finally? Seems kind of dark, doesn't it? Or is it just me? Let's pull one of these parts out and take a look. Get the motherboard out of the box. I can adjust the brightness over here on the camera. Like I said, I had some camera issues and it's not exactly where I want it to be. Wasn't bad to open up with, but it's definitely dark. What do you think of that color scheme with the motherboard and the cables? Looks pretty cool, huh? I got it pretty close. Let's fix this. So is that better? Is that bright enough? Or is it too bright? Yeah, it seems a little dull. I'll have to play around with it, but at least it's brighter. So you can see kind of the colors. Alright, there we go. Definitely check out the sound if you haven't. Sorry guys, there's been a whole conversation here that I've missed. So check us out if you're all interested. Yeah, check him out. If you haven't already, he's got his own Discord and everything. He's got a whole bunch of stuff there. I was just in there today. Tons of cool stuff in there. Goodness. All right, so let's get started. Finally. Started. Now we're going to town. So we're going to go ahead and install our 64 gigs of Flare X. So that's 232 gig sticks of RAM. We're going to drop that into slots A2 and B2. And something to note, if you are working with DDR5, you'll want to make sure that you're only running 2 slots. Do not run 4 slots with DDR5. It's very unstable. CPU time. Now we are going to drop the CPU into the socket, and then we'll remove the contact frame, the stock contact frame, and we'll add the Thermalright contact frame that we have here. But this is the Ryzen 9 7900X X3D. Super fancy processor that we're going to drop here into the socket. Made it to double digits. Nice. Hey, what's up, Army Vet? How's it going? Welcome back, sir. Got a 10 stream streak. 10 stream streak. I don't know how to say that correctly. You get it? Mommy all done? So we're just going to open this up. You can get a little bit of a zoom. Hey Mike, thanks for the like over there on the stream or Facebook. Sorry, thinking of too many things all at once. But we open this up and then we have a million little pins here. This is where you want to always be very gentle, because we don't want to damage any of those little pins. It's a very expensive adventure if you do damage it, which is actually why I want to drop the CPU very gently into the socket. So I'll go ahead and drop this in here. Very gently. And then we are going to just kind of close that temporarily, but we're going to remove these 4 screws and add our contact frame. Gee, yeah. Twitch follow? Nice. You guys hooking up with him? He's into the music stuff. Sound is his game, right? The man has an ear of a goddess. Nobody saw that. All right, so there we go. We've removed the contact frame. Now we are ready to drop in our AM5 contact frame, but look at how nicely it sits around that CPU. It really helps keep thermal paste from getting down and into the socket. Keeps things nice and clean. So it's super easy to wipe the thermal paste off when you put this on. It also helps maintain a level connection between the CPU and the cooler. That's if you were it's more of an issue with Intel than it is with AMD. AMD, it's really not necessary to have one of these. Intel, I believe that you should always install one on the LGA 1700 socket. With AMD, should be fine without it. It's not that big of a CPU. There we go. And then you'll also have this tool in your kit. So if you ever need to remove your CPU, Andrew, you'll have this included with the PC, obviously. God, I love this mother. I thought you would, and I thought the cables would go cool with it, or go well with it. Like, the guy's an artist in his own way, so I have to do something artistic in my way. Like, I knew the exact cables as soon as you picked this board that would go well with this board. These cables, they're not very expensive either. I mean, I think they're like 40 bucks for everything I have, but $40 or $50 with the extra EPS cable that I had to order. But I mean, it goes well. I couldn't help myself. But now we're going to move on to SSDs. We have this big pile of SSDs to install. So let's go ahead and get started. We're going to do a 2 terabyte up here in the main slot, and that's going to be our boot Windows drive. And then we'll do another 2 terabyte here, and probably the 4 terabyte down here. I'm just trying to peel this thing off here, get it ready. But you always want to peel those off. If you don't, it will cook your SSD, shorten its life. Yeah, same. Also, I feel they are overpriced. What's overpriced? For the, oh yeah, the brand. Yeah, the Asus. I mean, same thing with like I don't know, buying a Cadillac over like a Chevy or a Ford. I guess that really doesn't make that much sense anymore. I guess a Tesla? I don't know. But here we go. Dropping this in there. This is kind of a weird install here because the doesn't have really anything to line this up with other than just like hoping that you're I don't like this design very much. There's nothing there to like guide the screws into the right locations. So you have to like look underneath and just kind of hover, feel around, and then it fits. And if it fits, it ships. We're off topic. Talking about Macs. Oh, gotcha. Well, if anybody has any questions, make sure you tag at Empower Gaming Computer so I see it. So I don't really do any of that. I don't think I have anything set up that says, read my comment and here's 5 cents. I'm not for sale most of the time like that. All right, moving on to the second 2 terabyte M.2 NVMe Gen 4 SSD. Sorry, it's going to be here and here. So we have a total of 3 slots down here that are available. We're going to be utilizing 2, so you'll have 1 slot available left over after this. I'm going to do the 2 terabyte here. And then we'll do the 4 terabyte here. So here goes the 4 terabyte M.2. So that's a total of 2 by 2 by 4. So that's 8 terabytes. Right? Is that going to be enough storage, Andrew? Alright, so we're going to remove this top one and this one here. These are the heat spreaders. This is what transfers the heat off of the SSD and onto this big chunk of metal, and then passively cools with the air blowing through it by it, or across it over the top of it. Dang it. So just that thermal pad helps transfer that heat. Once again, this isn't really guided. It's kind of a pain to line this up. Playing a guessing game. I'm not really a fan of guessing. All right. Now that I'm done with that awkward position, you'll find a way to make it work. I'm sure. I have faith in you. All right, so one of the last few things that we have to do is check to see if we have any special mounting hardware for this cooler. I don't remember the last time I've done a Be Quiet cooler. It's been a long time. I've done a few in the past, but I'm not gonna lie, it's been probably over a year since I've worked with Be Quiet. It's just most of the time you don't really run into the sound factor with PCs. In my area where I work mostly, I'm mostly working with gamers. People don't really care that much about how loud the PC is because they're gaming, they have a headset on, it's not that big of a deal. And most coolers are pretty quiet these days. Nothing's any like super quiet, it's super loud. This one is supposed to be super whisper quiet. So that is why we targeted it. Targeted this cooler. Hey, what's up, Steve? Over there, this computer over there on YouTube, this computer has a 5800 X3D. I have no reason yet to replace it. Oh, absolutely not. What's the budget on this build? I think... Sorry, Brock. We were just over 3,000 on this build. Just to give you an idea of where we're at. But we have a lot of storage here on this. You know, we've spent a lot of money on the motherboard, and we spent a lot of money on the storage because that's kind of what he was gearing it for. And then we also spent a lot of extra money on specific components that will keep things super quiet. So you could probably rebuild this with the core components being the CPU, the RAM, and a percentage of the storage for a lot cheaper. But we wanted quality, so we bought quality components specifically to meet his needs. So this is a very niche build for somebody that does a lot of audio work and recording and wants the system to be as quiet as possible. Where's so I'm getting the cooler out so I can get to the mounting hardware. And then I just got to run through our fancy little booklet here just to make sure there's nothing special for this socket. Pretty sure we have to remove these brackets and use their fancy little brackets for the socket or for the cooler. Yeah, AM4, AM5. Yep. So we're going to be removing these and adding their AM4, AM5 brackets. And I just wanted to do this before we got it into the case. Patron Mix, LOL. It wouldn't be pro art if it wasn't at least a bit of hassle. Yeah, it's not the motherboard that's the hassle. It's the cooler that's the hassle. And that's actually, I forgot about this, but Be Quiet sends its own coolant that you have to add. So I'll be doing that as well. Forgot about that. It was an interesting thing that they... I mean, it's interesting because you can add more coolant to it if you need to. So here's our hardware that comes with the cooler. And we're targeting this one that says AMD on it. And we just got to add the mounting hardware for the cooler. And I prefer to do that outside of the case. Just makes things a little bit easier. Don't we have... Is it making me use their bracket? I'm confused. I'm very confused. Yeah. Okay. Apparently these are supposed to fit, but they don't fit. There we go. They do. Oh, one's for AM4, AM5. Got it. Or I'm just an idiot. I'm probably just an idiot. Have we seen the case? Not yet. Case is coming out just after this process. So just after we finish this hardware here, and Ben's done being an idiot, then we'll get the case out. And you'll be able to see that thing. I've not pulled it out of the box, so I don't even know if anything's broken or not. It'll be quite the surprise, right? I wanted Andrew to have the full, authentic experience. GPU can't be 16 bandwidth now. What do you mean? Oh, because of where I put the drive? What? I mean, it's only a RTX 4060 FYI that's in here. I'm not too concerned about that. If you're talking about where the SSDs went, I'll double check that. Actually, that's a good point. That is a good point. So somebody over on YouTube had mentioned the SSDs that are in there is going to take away some of the bandwidth from the 16X lane here, or X16 lane, and that is very true. It will do that, but I don't think it matters with the RTX 4060 as it is. Pretty sure that that doesn't even use the full 16, does it? That was one of the weird things about the 4060. Okay, now that we have that installed, we can go ahead and get the case out. Now we can take a look at the case. Whew. If you haven't noticed, this case is massive. It's large. I can't say massive because I've worked with bigger cases before. Oh. We do have to add the feet. I forgot how much work Be Quiet is. Let's go ahead and remove this glass panel, and then we'll be able to see on the inside of it. The front. It's been so long since I've worked with this case. I can't even remember how to open it. I feel like it's the front panel that we have to remove first to get to the inside, right? No? Or do I have to read the frickin' manual? And look like an idiot. It's been so long. Here. This is the case. Can't see much with the glass and the reflection. I can respect the minimalism. Yes. You bought a steel case? Yeah, it's just kind of, yeah. It's heavy. I'm pretty sure it is steel. That is so weird. Why does it say that it's like here? Am I crazy, guys? Has anybody else worked with this case? Am I just an idiot? It literally says removing the side panel. Look, they make it look easy as 1, 2, 3. But I'm an idiot. It looks like this just lifts up. Or pulls away from the case, right? 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 Like right now I'm breaking things. I'm just kidding. I feel like that's not right, but how do you get in this case? This is so stupid. Getting into a case should not be like a puzzle. Literally says remove the side panel. 1, 2, 3, or just like that. It's just magic. Just in one it has the panel, and the next it doesn't have the panel, and then this one just shows the panel coming straight up. But you really can't lift this thing straight up. It doesn't lift straight up. Definitely something I feel like is on it for shipping. Somewhere, like a screw, like something that locks it in. Oh my gosh. Look at my phone. Google, how the fuck do you open this thing? This guy makes it look like magic. Just kapoof. You just grab it, pull up. You just gotta manhandle it. That's what I've been doing. Am I crazy? It does not feel like it's coming off. There's gotta be something that I'm missing, and that this guy didn't tell me. I'm losing my mind. I don't think I've ever had this much trouble trying to open a case before. Aha! There's a secret button, guys. We figured it out. Put this back in there before I screw things up. Okay. Really quick. On the back, there's this really weird looking nipple thing. You push that in, and it releases it. Nice. See how easy that was, guys? I knew what I was doing the whole time. I just wanted to know if you guys knew. Anyway, here you go. It's a little button on the back. You push it, and it releases it. And this is one thing that I wanted to show you about this case that's specific. Very specific and unique about this case. If you look on the back, this is our back panel. It has insulation, foam, noise dampening solution, so it will help dampen some of the noise coming off this machine. It also has it on a front panel that is included in another cardboard box, and then also in the top panel as well, which is a separate panel that you can it's optional to use, so it's not something we need to use. I don't think I've had that much trouble ever before in my life trying to open up a case. And the video didn't even show you the button. The video on their website didn't even show you the button. The instructions do not show you the button. Oh, maybe it does. Very, very small. Maybe a little arrow pointing to... Here, let's... I don't know if it'll... Can the camera focus or not? Thank you. Can you see that that is identifying as a button? That little orange thing. No arrow indicating, hey, you have to push this. I mean... These instructions are kind of cheesy. Hell yeah, isolation. Isolation. Sound dampening? No, I want camera. Stop fighting me. Thank you. Okay. So yes, here's our massive case. We now successfully have removed the front panel, or the side panels. Yay us. Now we have to figure out how to remove the, this needs to come out. Oh yes. How much I love Be Quiet Now. It's all the ingenuity is the right term here. These are our hardware trays for additional hardware or hard drives. Hard drive trays. Hard drive hardware for your hard drives. I think somebody needs a Red Bull, or just, at this point, do some cocaine. I don't know. But there we go. Some insane cable management on the backside as well. I'm pretty sure this panel is removable and we could actually add more fans, I might be mistaken. I don't remember. I'd have to actually look at the instructions, and I'm not going to do that because that's not the build out we're doing. So first thing I'm going to do is try to get this front panel off, and then we'll be adding the third fan to the front. And we might have to finagle a couple of these existing fans to make the third one fit. How does this come off? There's a special button for this too. Nope, it just lifts off. And then we're going to remove the filter. Beautiful. All right, so now we have access to our front panel. What we have to do is move these fans up and add our third fan down here. Okay, let's do that. Got to do the unfun stuff before we get to the fun stuff. Be Quiet also has a bunch of extra features for vibrations as well, though vibrations really isn't as much of a problem nowadays since we don't have mechanical hard drives mostly in systems. Less of a problem. Go. Every little thing has been a challenge so far in this case. But it's okay. It's okay. Here we go. All right, so I have it upside down so I can get in here easily. I know you really can't see that much here, but I'm out. Have a good night. Have a good night, Dad Bods. We'll see you around next time. But by now, Andrew has got to be thinking, man, should I have really trusted this guy to build my PC professionally? I'd be thinking the same thing. It's okay, Andrew. I'm also questioning myself. But I don't remember even if I've built in this exact case before. Now that I think about it, it's been a while. I've done a lot of Be Quiet builds, but I don't think I've done this particular case. I got pictures to prove it too. And I think they're actually out on Facebook, is where those ones ended up. If you wanted to dig on the Facebook page. LOL JK. I was, but then you found the button. Yay. That's what she said. Moving on. All right, here's our third 140 millimeter fan, Pure Wings 2. To go along with that joke. That we're going to be adding to the front so that we have 3 140 millimeter fans on the front of the PC. We want as much airflow as we can get for the system. So I have to add this bad boy to the front, and then we'll flip it back over and start doing the real fun stuff, which is like what we're here to see, not, you know, see upside down computers with hands going in weird places. They gave us silver screws with a black fan. That's also the Ingenuity. Be quiet. Silver screws with a black fan. I mean, who does that? I'm gonna go get my own black screws to solve that problem. These are from an Arctic kit that we didn't end up using, so Arctic. All right, so here you see the front. Why are we so far over here? We're so far over. Man, my stream setup is so weird right now. I am not happy. What? What? But okay, that's gonna drive me nuts, but there's nothing I can do about it because the cable goes that way. You'll probably notice it in the future here, but hopefully not anytime soon. Alright, so for me to get down in here and actually put a screw in, I actually will need to remove this bad boy. Fun, fun. And now I can get my hand and my screwdriver down in here. Get that out of our way. This is where having a magnetic screwdriver really helps a lot. I'm finally home. Hey, what's up, Tyrion? And on my laptop, so that's all. This is still Andrew, just on my music account. Gotcha. No worries, no worries. I was just gonna say, well, we had an imposter here the whole time. It's turnt onion. Got it. Turnt onion. It looks like Terrion. Like you're French. Talion. I don't know. For being a boomer like me, that's what it looks like. That's probably our most common nickname. Got it. Turnt. Well, I apologize if I butchered it. Turn Eon. Fuck, I don't know how to spell it. Alright, look at that. We got the fan partially installed. We just have to finish 2 more screws. No, we did that while talking about turnt. Okay, So now, actually, we're ready to drop the motherboard into the case. Well, here we go. How far of a drop do you want? You know, like 8 feet? I'm joking. Let's peel this first. Oh, nice. Thanks, Asus. Please hold. Let's peel the peel, but then the peel breaks, so then you can't peel the peel without picking at it with your short fingernails. And then we get to peel the peel. What's the point of the peel? There's another peel down here. I know everybody's here mostly just for the peels. Nobody's here for the build, they're just here for the peel. Alright, so the board lines up beautifully, just perfect because of their ingenuity. That's going to be a term we're going to use throughout this build, by the way. So you built 733 PCs last year, all on stream. That's wild. I would say 80% of those were on stream. There was a few that we did off stream because when it gets to around Christmas time, there's just so many builds. And sometimes I'm building like 3 a.m. to get things done before Christmas. I'm not streaming at 3 a.m. or I'm trying not to. So there might be, there's probably 80% of those were probably streamed live. That's a lot of builds. Yeah, I know. That's why I got build calluses, man. I got build calluses. You know, the girls think that's hot. No. All right. So now that we've got the board here, we just need the hardware for the cake. We can start doing the fun stuff, the real fun stuff. Where's our hardware? It's in the box. In the box, in the box. In a bag. In a box, in a bag. And there it is. Okay. So we want motherboard. Are any of these labeled? None of these are labeled. But in a cheaper brand, they would be. Pretty sure this looks like a motherboard screw. Let's see. Let's find out. So far, I've been wrong about everything on this build. Yeah, NZXT and Be Quiet are one of the few that use unique screws for their motherboards. This feels wrong. I don't like it. Before I fuck this up, I'm taking that out. Other one. Did not feel like it wanted to thread properly. And I'm not about that that threading improperly kind of thing, so I'm gonna get the correct screw, the one that you wouldn't think it is, because that's apparently how Be Quiet thinks. I don't know why they wouldn't just use the standard screw that everybody else uses. And here, you know, I sound like an old man just complaining about the screws. Get off my lawn! What's wrong, bud? Unconventional, exactly. I've just never been a fan of companies that don't follow standards and they have to be unique. I understand being unique is cool, but when it comes to something like this, like building a PC, a standard is nice. For something so small as a screw that you have to be unique with, it just doesn't make sense. All right, there we go. Motherboard installed. Oh yeah. Finally getting trouble for their dongle. Empire. Yeah. Looking nice. Thank you. Hold on, I gotta let the dog out. Okay, so there's that. We've got the motherboard installed. Now what? What do we do now? I think before we get too crazy, we should probably put the cooler in. And if we're going to be putting the cooler in, we should definitely get the cables installed. If we're going to do that, then do the RGB after. So, there's my train of thought that everybody just heard. I'm just going to start putting cables in. And get the motherboard cables, front panel cables for the case plugged in as well. That way those are out of the way. But the main reason why I want to do cables first is because if we don't do cables first, when we put the radiator in, it may be more difficult to get the cables plugged in after the fact. Oh yeah. Take a look at that. Looks kind of cool. Yeah? Someone please make it happen. Wait, what are we trying to make happen? That goes off, yeah, yeah. Done? Going into the house? Alright, so this is a EPS cable. This is what's going to be powering the CPU. And we just need to get that plugged in up here, which the radiator is going up here. So that's one of the main reasons why we want to try to get this done before we put the radiator in, because it gets a little cramped up here. We have two of these cables. Two of these cables that we want to get plugged in. There we go. This one wants to fight what direction it wants to go, so we're going to have to argue with it a little bit after the fact. But that's okay. I usually win arguments when it comes to this topic. Aha. Here's the second one. I see. Alright, let's show you what I'm dealing with right now. This thing wants to just flex this way. I don't want it to, I want it to go this way. So we'll just have to see what it looks like once we get the radiator in here, but it's gonna look something like that. It's got some more gold on the ceiling. Who plays that song? Isn't the Black Eye Keys? The Black Keys? The Black Keys? The Black Eye Keys? Oh my gosh. The Black Keys, right? I like those top panel buttons. Are they all going to be hooked up or some inactive? Top panel buttons, what are you talking? Oh yeah, they're all hooked up. They're going to be all hooked up, yes. I think. So if we look here at the top, we have a fan controller that has a 1, 2, 3, auto, etc. This is the only thing that we may not be hooking up, because generally I want the motherboard to control the fans, so you don't have to adjust your fans manually. Instead, the motherboard says, hey, we need to spin fast, which is also something you can adjust manually in the software if you ever needed to. So if you want it silent, you could actually go in and change the profile to silent from the software rather than doing it from a button. But that's your call if you want the button or the software. You can't have both. Probably safer to have the motherboard controlled. That's what I usually would suggest or recommend. On PCs I've had in the past, sometimes the builder had left some stuff inactive. No. So this board has everything that will connect here. So USB-C, we have that. Audio, HD audio, we have that. USB 3.0, we have that. And then these are just light indicators for your disk write speed, and then I think your LED power, your power button here. So all of that will be plugged in. The only thing that wouldn't work if we're running the software is this fan controller, because you can only plug it into one or the other. You can't have both. Unless I'm mistaken on the controller side, which we'll look at before we say that, you know, for sure in the end. Let's flip this around anyway, because we gotta send all the cables through. The USB-C and USB 3 will go here, and then we've got all our front panel stuff down there. The rest of it. And what I mean by that is this bundle of joy right here, which just took this out for some reason. Not sure why that popped out. I guess that's what happens in a quality case. Rubber grommets will pop out. I was pretty gentle when I pushed it through. Alright. Need to undo this guy. Let's see what... This is actually our fan controller that goes back to that button that we're talking about. Let's see if they have a... They do. So, actually, the auto feature is going to go to the motherboard. So we could hook it up. Yep. Not a problem. So it'll all be hooked up. I spoke too early. I should have looked before I spoke. I just wanted to make sure it had a sync cable to the motherboard, which it does. So, no problems there. USB-C goes here. USB 3.0 will sneak right here. Do a QB sneak. And then we have our front panel power LED connections. We're going to go down here, up and in. I said we're going to go down here and up and in. Right? Nope. We're just going to go through this slot here. I was mistaken. Sorry. And then I'm pretty sure we have a PWM connection on the bottom. Fan number 3. Or chassis fan 5. We're going to go to fan number 3 on this for the controller. Okay. And then we have our HD audio, which goes to this corner over here as well. It's actually pretty cool that they have that slotted off and separate from the power supply chamber. I actually am a fan of that. I am a fan. Yeah, look out. Thank you. Oh, we'll deal with that in a minute. Alright, there's that. These guys fell back through because they're just bums. Back in there. Flip it back over, and what do we got? We got a whole bunch of cables that we have to plug in. We'll go ahead and do that. USB-C here, our front panel USB-C. These Just simply plug in here by the USB-C or into the USB-C header. You might find this interesting, but PWM is something we use in synthesizers, yes, as a tone. Yeah, I am actually very familiar with that. PWM here is just basically, it means it controls the fan. It has a fourth pin from your DC connection header, PW fan header, versus your DC, which is just controlling it by electricity or voltage to the fan. So if we want to control the fan speed, we have to tell it to either go faster by sending more electricity to it, or it has to have an actual brain and tell it to go faster or slower. And that's what that fourth pin is, which we call PWM. That fourth pin is the motherboard telling the fan to go faster, basically. It's a communication pin, so to speak. That's the easiest way to kind of describe it plainly. In simple terms. This is a weird design. Okay, now our front panel power reset button, our HD LEDs, hard drive LEDs, which just indicates when something's writing to something. All of that gets plugged in down here at the bottom, which you probably can't see very well because of the camera angle, and I apologize about that, but I don't have money to buy like three different $1,200 cameras to make this work right now. So, working with what we got. But that is something on the list of things that I do want to add to the stream, is different angles that we could see different things. Which the more cameras I add means the better CPU I need. Means I need an upgrade, which we already knew that. If you've been following me for any sort of time, you would know I need an upgrade. I just don't have the time or the energy to do it right now. I have half of my parts to do it, I just haven't done it. That hurt. When you poke under your nail, pin under your nail. Okay, so there we go. We got all those cables plugged in, tucked in nice and neat. So the cable management is looking nice and fresh. So, now that that's done, we could probably push that back in. We could probably start working on the radiator. And I think this comes out. This should be something that comes out. Could be wrong. I'm pretty sure it comes out. If I remember correctly, this is a Be Quiet design. It is. I remembered correctly. Thank goodness. Come on. Really? All that for that? Now it's time to deal with the radiator, the AIO. And I'm pretty sure this does not come pre-filled, if I remember correctly. On these, we have to actually fill it, which is something I completely forgot about on this one. I think it's this fill port here, or here. Actually, this. Double checking in the manual just to make sure. But they come with one of these little guys, coolant, which we'll remove the plug, add the coolant, and be good to go if we need to. I'm double checking to make sure, because I don't hear any of it in there. I don't like these manuals already. I hate them. The Be Quiet manuals, they suck. Oh my goodness! Oh, so how's everybody else's evening going while we're figuring this out? You had a shit day, but a fun evening so far. Well, at least I did something right so far. Sorry you had a shit day. It actually has liquid in it. So maybe this is just for extra. I'll top it off. Just to be sure. I don't want to put this thing in and find out it doesn't have enough or something. I know there's some that you have to do this to, some really fancy ones. Come on, just open the port. Look at that. Big same, LOL, Thursday vibes. Yeah. Thank God it's Friday tomorrow. I think that's what we're all thinking. All right. We are topped off, sir. There was actually a bit of air that came out of that, so I'm kind of glad we did that. She's nice and tight because we don't want any little drippy dips. Logo work. Who does logo work? Yeah. Killing for a few hours is the best. Okay, so next, now that that's filled and ready to go, we're going to go ahead and put the fans on the radiator, which we want them cables facing me so that they go on the inside. And we want it set to exhaust, so it exhausts out the top of the case. And I need the Paco screws here. Finally carved out time to work on something myself and chill tonight. Nice. What are you working on in the background? Way too many projects at work, yeah. I hear ya. This isn't all I do. Not right now, anyway. There's not enough builds lately. I'm working full-time on top of this at the moment. Busting me balls. But you gotta get the bills paid. With the hopes, you know, eventually this is... I did go full-time last year with this. But had... it just wasn't enough coming into 2024. So I had to go back. That sucked. But... I got into a pretty cool group of guys, so... working with a pretty cool group of guys right now anyway. That's good. Alright, so now that we've got that done, now we flip this bad boy over, and we're going to put this bracket on that we have floating up here. And then we could slide this radiator AIO into its final resting place. Right? And move on to something a little bit more exciting. Although I think the rest of the build is pretty much going to be as exciting as this. Other than, you know, putting the graphics card in and firing it up. One of the final pieces of the puzzle. We do have some RGB strips and I can't wait to set them to like a yellow gold, like a yellow orange tinge, gold kind of look, just to see what it looks like with all this in here. It's gonna look pretty dope. Okay, so now that that bracket is added to the back of the radiator, I'm going to go ahead and plug the CPU fans on the radiator into the daisy chain connection here, and then we'll shove it through the back as we push the radiator in. That way we don't have to deal with these cables until we get to the back. Here we go. Let's hope it just works, right? It just works. Why wouldn't it just... Why wouldn't it? I don't know. But it will. It'll just work. Yeah, that's kind of what I anticipated here with the cables. I wanted them to come out this way. If we could... sneak in like that. That'd be cool. Oh. Like that. Pretty dope. Except, well, this we're going over the bottom of that one. There we go. Much. I like that. Okay, I'm happy with that. Then we got to put our 2 screws in, and we've secured our radiator. A specific, oh, you're working on a design for yourself in a specific style, combo of illustration and type, just practice. Okay, cool. My brother does a lot of like dubstep stuff and a lot of electric stuff. He makes some pretty cool stuff with it. I think it's like ultimate dreams to like DJ, but he just hasn't done it. Like he's got hardware to do it and stuff, and he plays and he practices, and when we're over and we have, you know, families over and stuff, we go and he'll, you know, spin up and start making some stuff on the fly. It's cool, but he hasn't done it like in a professional setting or in front of a crowd that he doesn't know. I think he's just like self-conscious about it. I've always tried to tell him, well, just go do it. You won't know until you go do it. Just go do it. Go and do all the things. All right, so we've just peeled our bottom thingamabopper here, our piece of plastic over the top of the block, and I need thermal paste, which we have thermal paste here from Be Quiet, which we'll add to the CPU. There we go. And we'll block it. With the Be Quiet logo upright in the correct position. Get these screwed down, started. And then we'll just go back and forth as it applies pressure to the CPU. It's pushing down on the pins inside the socket, so we want to do it as evenly as we can for the absolute best perfect results. Because if you just go tight on one side, tight on the other, you're risking some uneven pressure on the pins. Not that I've ever heard of anybody actually doing damage there, it's just a thought while you're building. Keep it in mind. There we are. We have our Be Quiet, which actually I might take this out and run this down closer like this, and these cables up and around it, maybe? I don't know. Haven't decided yet. We'll think about it. I gotta figure out which one's our pump header. Gotta feel that. And then we gotta send these over. Back. Which is ARGB, because this has some RGB lights right here. We'll need to get those synced up as well. Which we will do some cable management on the backside. We'll do some cable management on the backside. Okay, which one's our pump? I can't read from here. IC fan, CPU fan, PIO pump is all the way on the third one. Perfect. We'll send this cable through and plug it into the third on the top. When I say send this through, I'm just sending the cable through. And then we need one little zip tie here just to pucker things up. Because these cables are starting to drive me nuts already. I have a thing with cable management. It's an addiction more so really than anything. And they don't have, you know, meetings for cable management people. Cable management addicts. So I haven't really been able to overcome this addiction other than build PCs and satisfy the addiction. So here we go. Cable management 101. Zip ties. Lots of zip ties. When you think you have enough zip ties, buy more zip ties. Because you probably don't have enough zip ties. That's cable management 101. There we go. Nice and neat. Or that cable got twisted somehow, and that kind of pisses me off a little bit, but who actually cares about that cable? Fine. Can barely notice it. Notice it. Okay. So, I was thinking on this situation here, because the tubes are kind of going across the top, I can either leave them here, which is usually what I would do, or we could do, come here, gold cable. Man, this one does not like to stay there. Rubber grommet. Or we could take this cable here, 24 pin, and go over the top, which will kind of make the gold kind of like just pop there. I don't know. Your thought? Do you want it up and over around the tubes, or do you want it just underneath? Underneath is more minimalistic. Over the top is just popping the gold color. Gonna be a lot of gold. I'd probably just go underneath, now that I saw it. I'm just gonna put it underneath. Unless you want it on top. Underneath. Yeah, I agree. You know, you can't say I didn't try. A year from now, or 6 months from now, or 8 months from now, whatever, you can't say, Ben, you know, I really wish you asked me if I could put this over the top or underneath. I think it would really look good this way. But now we've already tested it and verified. We like it underneath. So there we are. My gosh, there's cables everywhere. I'm an addict. No. We don't need to deal with this yet. Maybe Colorado will fix that when I start fresh. Hey, what's up, Jar of Dirt? Sorry I missed your comment there. I don't know how long ago that came through. Currently I have all the chats in a separate window. So I'm looking at Twitch chat, Kick chat, Facebook chat, YouTube chat. And then I have also on top of that the multi-stream chat, unfortunately, that is kind of partially working. So I have to have everything in like separate windows right now for some reason. So if I don't look at the window, I'm sorry. That's just been happening a lot lately, especially on the YouTube side. I don't know why. I've just been like the middle child YouTube tonight. Okay, so we've got our cooler installed, our CPU, our RAM, our SSDs, our cables, our front panel, our third front fan. What's next? What next, say you? Well, next we have these cool things that are addressable RGB. So some diffused addressable RGB strips. Diffused because it looks a lot cooler than just a bunch of little light bulbs on a strip. It's actually diffused, so it's way smoother. The light effects are way smoother this way. Highly recommend that if you're looking to add some RGB to anything where the lights are going to be exposed, that you would use a diffused. If it's going to be behind something and you're not even going to see where the light's coming from, then, you know, the cheap ones is fine. But if you're going to look at it, you know, like the inside of a computer with a tempered glass side panel, then yes, we want diffused. So I was thinking of maybe one at the top. I don't know yet. I don't know if this can fit up there or not. And one at the bottom, or one on the front panel here, if we could get it to fit. The exact right size there. I think the bottom is going to be the answer here. And again, I gotta check with the case side panel. Make sure we're not in the way of the side panel. I'm sure we are. Whoops. I'm sure we will be. Well, that'll work. I think if we get one here, it will be okay. It'll just be a little awkward. You can actually fish that cable through there, which is pretty impressive. I can fish a cable through there. Maybe. And I don't want to get stuck here and it not work out. Then have to remove it. That would suck. I'm gonna try just getting it in here. And let's see what it does. Yeah, it's blocking it, so we can't put it there. Unfortunately, that won't work there. So, definitely one on the top, and I should be able to get a second one on the top at least, and just have them both going down, pointing down. I think that's about all I can really do to make it fit right. Can't really put one up here. This doesn't fit right. Yeah, it just won't fit. Won't fit anywhere up here. Could put one at the very bottom right here. That'll just look weird. Not the biggest fan of that. But I could. I'm gonna try both on the top. We can move these. These are just magnets, right? The brackets that we use for these are just magnetic. They just stick to the PC case. Yo, yo, what's up, Tat? Tat? Tuna. What's up, man? Classy. This build feels like warm light RGB vibe. Yeah, I mean, we're adding some RGB to it for sure. Why wouldn't we? Get all these magnetic connector thingamabobs connected. All right, and then we should be able to actually get this one installed up here without doing much there. That's pretty easy. Simple. See, you guys? See what happens when you're smart? Like me? I'm just kidding. Not very smart. Only sometimes. Connection here. And then we have our RGB connection here. Nice! It's all coming together right now. Over me. I'm digging the gold cable extensions. Yeah, I've gotten a lot of comments on that actually. I guess for my build, I'm gonna do gold because Andrew's starting a thing. Like, everybody that's watching a stream and buying a PC next is all gonna be asking for gold cable extensions. Which I'm okay with. 100%. I just thought the color would go well with the PC and kind of what he does, and you know, it just seemed like the right fit. Tell me if I'm wrong, Andrew. Oh yeah, this is gonna look dope. Being the backlight coming down on it. It's gonna look dope. That I think is gonna look cool. They're so extra. I want them. Yeah, they're not that much extra. I mean, like $40–50 for the cables. And that's because, you know, I bought all of the right little pieces for it to make it work really well. But, I mean, it just depends on your motherboard. Like, if you need 2 EPS cables like an extra 10 bucks. Versus if you don't need the 2 EPS cables. Why is this? Are you kidding me? That cable's not just, the cable's just short of the connection. So I need a slightly longer addressable RGB connection. Extension. We have an extension sitting here. Good. EWM. Hold on, I've got extension cables over here. So if you build a lot of PCs, then having these on hand, which are just a few dollars, super useful when you run into this type of problem. All it is a extension. So it gives me an extra like 6 inches. You guys know what I mean. That time when you need an extension on your length. RGB cable length, that is. I've wasted more money on less cool things before. Oh yeah, so we've all done that. We're all guilty of that. I got to have it moment. Or shit, this isn't even the right cable. That's why this is the Gigabyte stupid sync. I hate this cable. Gigabyte sync cable. Screw that. Screw that. Anyway, but yeah. We've all been there. We're all guilty of that. Nobody's not guilty there. Somebody in the chat. Actually, I'm joking. All right, we've followed the correct cable path for our cable. We're gonna get our RGB cables plugged into the motherboard so it synchronizes properly, right? Here we go. There we go. So now the RGB is synchronized to the motherboard. So when we install the ASUS Armory Crate, we'll be able to control the RGB from the motherboard software, the ASUS Armory Crate. One of the last few things we have to do is install the graphics card, install the power supply, wrap up the cable management on the backside, and then it's time. So 3 more things. That's all we've got left. Y'all hanging in there, right? We're already at 9:45. It's been a longer than normal build. Yeah. I'm going for that pop of color surrounded by lots of muted tones in general. Makes the gold shine. Yes. The gold shines bright like a diamond. Sorry, I have girls, so I have to listen to that. Listen to those songs all the time. Alright, so the graphics card. The Asus Dual RTX 4060. Gonna bring the remaining little pieces of the system here together. We're going to break these out so that we can drop the card in. And we do have a gold cable for the graphics card as well. Oh, nice. It just falls right out. Thanks, Asus. Making this way more difficult than it needed to be. It's beautiful. Peeling time. Lots of peels on this card. We got peels here, we got peels there. Everywhere is a peel. Peel, peel, peel. I could write a child's storybook out of peels. Or talking about peels. Here we go. Nice. Yeah. More of that gold. Yes. Tat Tutuna, they do, Mr. Tat, they do make gold RAM kits, and that is actually the G.Skill Trident Z Royal series. And they make the silver royal kind of looking, and then they make a gold version of it as well. So it's very reflective, gold looking, which would have looked badass, but I don't think they have that particular kit that is AMD Expo certified yet. So for DDR5, kind of reminds me of the raw speaker wire. yeah, it kind of does. It's actually a good point. You got gold cables in here, man. The audio quality's got to be good. Gold cables inside your computer. I mean, isn't that the thing? Like, everybody wants gold connection this, gold cable that, because gold is a higher quality metal and it has less feedback or something, right? You could totally shut me down if I'm wrong. I'm not an audio expert. I know a little bit because, you know, streaming and making my own stuff here and there, my own media, but it's only enough for me to be dangerous and create what I've created here. So, I didn't create this music. This music is from Epidemic Sound, but I have done stuff before. I've done some strange things in my life. All right. One of the last components we have to install is going to be the power supply. So this bad boy has to be slid in from the back door, if you know what I'm saying. I was really talking about music when I said mid-tones. Gotcha. No mid-tones. I think you're actually talking to him, but that's okay. Maybe you're talking to me. I don't know. So after we get this power supply installed, slid in the back door, we'll be able to finish up the cable management on the back side. Sorry about the quacking duck that Mr. Max, but the puppy, keeps stepping on right next to me. But we'll be able to do the cable management, and then we'll be able to fire this thing up. Finally! Finally! We're at that point where we can fire this thing up. Then we get to check to see if Ben actually knows what he's doing and he built a computer that works, right? I'm sure that's exciting for everybody. Yeah, sort of certain instruments can be buried in the pocket or on top. You guys are talking about stuff I don't play with anymore, so I'm out of my realm there. But I'm okay with the conversations. I do like to learn things. Teach me, master. And here's an 80 plus bronze, 80 plus platinum. Holy crap, that's a big difference from bronze to platinum. Power supply by Be Quiet. So super nice quality power supply here. 850 watts, more than enough for this build. I don't think you'll ever use the entirety of this power supply, but it is there if you need it. I'm going to try to get most of these cables in here. That way none of them get lost in the future. They'll all be on the power supply, even though it is a modular power supply. This power supply also features a 16-pin 12-volt high-power PCIe 5.0 cable, which is required for most of the bigger 4070 cards, 40,000 series cards, and some of the NVIDIA reference cards from the 3000 series, etc. Those all used the PCIe P8. What is this? PCIe. Those all use that PCIe 5.0 connection. So, I always try to make sure power supplies nowadays, especially in higher end builds, have that connection, because NVIDIA kind of hinted that all of the cards are going to have that in the future going forward. I recommend, if you are buying a power supply in 2024, anytime around this time, to make sure you purchase a power supply with that connection on it. So that is just weird how that goes like that. Yeah, no, I was right. Okay, so now that we have all our cables on the power supply, we now have to finagle our way a bracket on here. Hey, what is the power output of it? It's 850 watts. Platinum. 80 plus platinum, 850 watts. So many connectors on that. Yeah, I know. I'm putting all of the cables on here. It is a modular power supply. We don't necessarily need all of these cables for this build, but I don't want you to come back to me and say, hey Ben, I want to add this in my computer, and then we find out the power cord was in a box that you threw away. So I like to put all the power cords in the PC. Just plug them in, have them there, and that way they will never get lost unless you accidentally throw away your awesome computer. Oh, come on. Max, you need to go out again. Are you kidding me? Dude, go out like every 5 minutes now. You getting old on me? Oh my gosh. So this design, which is, hey, we have a power supply, let's put the bracket on, and then the bracket will allow you to connect it to the back of the power supply. FYI, in the future, don't buy a case with this. It sucks. Such a waste of time to do all that extra work just to put a power supply in here. It comes down to preference, I guess. I don't like it. That's my preference. But this case didn't have any other option, so you gotta go with what you got. The case we want to roll with. I just don't like the design. It's not that the case sucks because of it or anything like that. The case is a great case. It's just the design that somebody thought putting a power supply in from the back like this would be fun. It is not fun. I'm not a fan of it. It's not because I'm old school or anything, it's just, look at how much trouble I'm having just sliding this thing in. Somebody thought it would be cool. Well, not as cool as you think it is. If it was a side mount, I would have had it in there 5 minutes ago. Or dual chamber is actually really cool too, because you just drop it into its slot. It's super easy. This whole, hey, let's put a special bracket on there. Then the other thing is if, let's say you go to sell this computer and you part it out and you sell everything, but you sell the case separately without the power supply, and the power supply goes to another buyer, and you left that bracket on the power supply not knowing. I've seen that before. It's quite frustrating. Hey, I didn't know I was supposed to take that bracket off because it was part of the case. I thought it was part of the power supply because it's on the power supply. So it just causes confusion with things for people that, you know, don't do this every day. Just simple stuff like that. Okay, now we have to do some cable management, plug everything in, fire it up. Let's do this. Not much left here. Not much left, I promise. Although, I don't know what my promises are worth to. I promised I was a good PC builder, but I couldn't figure out how to open the case. Ben didn't know. Alright, so we're going to need another zip tie here. I love this part. I'm a zip tie addict. When you think you have enough zip ties, you don't. Go buy more. Cable management 101, right? Hey, here's the coffin dance. Who claimed that? Hey, what's up? How's it going, man? Welcome to the Build Show. What PC am I building? I am building Andrew's music studio PC, who is here in the chat. Make yourself known. But anyway, it's got a Ryzen 9 7900X3D. It's got 64 gigs of DDR5, 6000 megahertz CL30 for the timing, and it's AMD Expo certified RAM, G.Skill Flare X 5, and then we've got an Asus ProArt series board, and then we've got a Asus RTX 4060 because we really only need the graphics for display and some coding and encoding that he might be doing in the future. So that's really all the graphics cards there for. We really don't need the graphics power. And then we've also got a total of 8 terabyte between 3 SSD, 2 terabyte Western Digital 850 or 8. Which ones? The 850s? Anyway, 850Xs, I think they are. SN 850X. But 2 terabytes and a 4 terabyte. Did you get any of those Prime deals? No, I did not. I wasn't really shopping for Prime deals, honestly. Have I built an X1 Gamer? Yes. Yes, I have. Are you talking about the X1 Gamer on our website? Yes, the X1 Gamer is a excellent starting point. It's on the AMD platform. It's AM4, so it's not the same platform as, say, this, which is AM5, but it's still on a platform that is supported by AMD, so you'll probably have another year or two of upgrades available from AMD. But it is, you know, it's just a great PC to start out with. It's like a $529, I think, PC, and then you also have the 1 terabyte SSD upgrade option, which is what I would recommend if you are going to get the X1, because 512 is a great start, but you really can only put 1, maybe 2 games on that, and then you're full. So for the extra like $20 or $30, get the 1 terabyte SSD. Ridley! Oh! Shoot! Yeah, M.2s were super cheap. Yeah, Corsair had some pretty good ones. So did you put an order in? Or am I missing something here? And when did you put the order in? If it was just recently. Hey, Kenneth. Hello, Ben. My 4070 Ti Super is beautiful. Thanks again, Ben. No problem, man. Thanks for stopping in and saying hi, Kenneth, over there on YouTube. A week ago. Gotcha. So it must be under a different name other than Ridley. But I'll double check that for you, because there are several orders in right now. We've got this build, and then we've got another that I think is yours next, and then we have a third one that we're going to be building as well. So we'll probably, if I think your name is correct on the invoice that I'm looking at over here from the order, Quinn, I'll use the first name. Is that the correct name? Quinn? Quinn? On the order? Yeah. No? Okay. I gotta figure out which one that is then. So, I will get back with you on that. And if you want, actually just give me a text at 248-617-1050, and I'll figure it out for you to figure out when we're building it. And again, this is the number. I just don't have all of the orders up in front of me right now, so I can't see where we're at with everything until I open that up and take a look. So give that number a text. I will follow up with you. Or an email to support@empowergamingpcs.com. So, okay, I am going to finish up this cable management, and then we'll figure out where that PC is, because it's on the top of my brain now. Like, I usually recognize most names on the orders because I'm working closely with everybody, but there are some orders that'll come through the website, and they get printed out, or parts get ordered. And then next thing you know, I'm not really thinking about the name until we're actually building it, so I apologize if that's the case. Normally, I try to give everybody a very nice personal experience with everything. But when it gets busy, especially around Christmas time, right now, randomly got busy, gets more difficult to keep track of everything. But if you do have an order in, we do probably have the parts here if it's been a week. And we're probably just waiting on the next day, good day to build it, which will probably be within the next day or two. Sorry about the quacking duck in the background. That is Mr. Max with his squeaky toy. We decided that now was the time to play with the quacking duck. If you hear it. You play with the quacking duck in the other room? Hey Aaron T, hey there. Ben, this is Aaron. I can hardly wait to get my monster started. You know me by Charles, my first name. Oh, nice. Hey, what's up, Charles? Thanks for stopping in. Yeah, I'm super excited to get that build going for you. I know we're just waiting on some final things there. And then we'll be getting the order process started. And I know you're excited for it, because we've talked about it. We're just building Andrew's PC tonight, right now. Trying to get this PC done, as he's also just as excited to get this thing. Do. It's a pleasure to watch the stream. The cable management is stellar. Thank you. Thank you. We do give it a give it an old college try. I guess that's like me trying to sound like an idiot, but I do give it a go, and I try my best to keep it as clean as possible where I can. You know, in this next situation, it's going to be a little bit more difficult keeping it perfecto, but again, I will try my best. this case has a lot of good cable management routes, so it makes it a little easier. Where everything just makes sense as you're managing the cables, doing the cable management. It just makes sense when you're doing all of this. Okay. This goes in. Let me just see what cable that is. Yeah. What? Oh, okay. Oh. Also, I love the idea of putting all the power supply cables into the PC so they are there if needed. Yeah. I mean, with modular, I've just had too many people call me and say, "Hey, where's this cable?" And then it's you know, a cable we didn't put in the system, and it's in their extra parts bag, and they got rid of it. So, and then we're kind of sitting there like, it should be there in the bag, and then they're like, no, we got rid of that because we thought it was just extra crap we didn't need. Because, you know, technically it is. But later on, they found out they did. So, or it got lost, or it got misplaced, or who knows. I'd rather just have it in the system, there, and available as needed, tucked away. It's not hurting anything by putting it in there. Just more work for the builder. Ultimately, that's what it comes down to. And it, you know, if you're looking on the backside, it's not going to look as clean with the cables in there, but I'd rather have the functionality 2 years, 3 years, 4 years from now, knowing that it's there, than not have it. What? Almost done, guys. How many builds do you plan on doing this evening? I'm only going to be doing this one because I knew it was going to take an extended period of time to complete this one. Normally I do about 1 or 2 in an evening, but tonight I'm only going to be doing this one. And I will be doing 2 probably tomorrow. 2 builds. If you want to join us again tomorrow, we'll be building tomorrow. And then possibly we'll be doing another build on Saturday. Probably Saturday afternoon. Early afternoon, Eastern time. When we're planning to stream again. Possibly. If not, then it'll be probably Monday evening. So, but Friday for sure, tomorrow. evening for sure. We are going to be streaming 2 builds, and we're going to probably start a little bit earlier, probably more like 6 p.m. Eastern time for the stream. Sounds like a plan. Yeah, for sure. So we will have more builds tomorrow. Now there's a couple of people waiting on builds. And I was going to try to do 2 PCs, but this one I kind of knew was going to go a little longer. Like we're 2.5 hours into this one, and I still have to do the software side of it as well. But that's okay. Most people are willing to wait as long as you build a quality product. And that is what I'm doing. So, hang tight if you're waiting on a build as well. And I will get to the build, and I will get it done, and I will get it to you. Sometimes we get a little overwhelmed with the amount of orders all at once, and then we just have to process them and get them to you. Okay, I like how those fold into that place there. Very nice and neatly. Honestly, I just want one SATA over here. The rest of them we could push down into the pit. Thoroughness supersedes speed. Yeah, we do quality over quantity is what we talk about a lot here. We want to make sure we're building a quality PC. Don't rush it. Do it right the first time. That way we don't have to do it again. I don't know if you can see this portion on this. It looks like you can. Okay. So like I said, if you thought you had enough zip ties, you don't. Heard me say that a couple times probably tonight. And that is the truth. As you can see, like I've used 20 zip ties tonight on this PC so far. Easily. There we go, nice and neat. Look at that. Just gotta clip all these. There's our back cable management. Oops, forgot one. What do you guys think of that? Acceptable quality? Cable management quality? Very nice. Yes, I know. Alright, so the kit included one extra GPU cable. So if you ever get a bigger GPU and you need a second PCIe cable, you've got the gold cable. Match it up. And we can always buy more if we need more. Alright. I'm going to not put the feet on because I plan to box this back up for you. But the feet are in the styrofoam. So if you look on the bottom here, you've got two areas where the feet will connect. And I'm pretty sure they just lock in when you push them in. The problem is once we put the feet on, we won't be able to put it back in the box for travel. And I know I know we're planning on possibly shipping it, so I'm not going to put the feet on. And I'll let you just put the feet on. So it'll be in the styrofoam packaging, FYI. Just so you're aware. And they just snap in on the bottom. Super easy. Stand this baby up. Put our back panel on. The top. So again, you have a mesh panel for the front. Let me show you this really quick before we go to the top. Let's show this piece. The front, you have either a mesh panel that slides on, right, for better airflow, or you have the solid panel, which has the sound dampening on it as well, and the ventilation is here at the bottom, so it limits the ventilation's down here at the bottom. It limits the airflow, but will reduce the amount of sound. So it depends on, you know, what your needs are. Both panels are available to you. You only have one or the other on at the same. You can't have both of them on at the same time, obviously. I'm going to put the airflow one on for you first. That way you can hear it when you set it up. And then I'll make you determine if you need one or the other based on your use case scenario for the day that you're recording or something. Come on. It should just lock in here. Right. Gosh, everything is just going great right now. Now this is popping out. Oh, because I had it on the back. I'm an idiot. You know, guys, I'm very special over here. Why does that keep popping out? Oh, because you have the button being pushed in by the weight of the computer on the backside? Idiot. There we go. I got it. Anyway, there we go. So there we go. We got our front mesh on. Yay! Yeah, the mesh should be fine, but if it's, let's say, you're picking it up on a microphone, you're like, oh, I wish this thing could just be a little quieter. You've got those two panels in your back pocket. But, I mean, it's going to be pretty quiet as it is. All right. And then the top panel, which is just a magnetic piece. Okay, I'm not going to put the glass panel on because it reflects off the The light reflects off of it. But I can get you a side view here after I connect it. All right, let's get it plugged in, and then I'll give you guys a side view. You can check it out, fire it up. Yeah, this motherboard has a 10 gig network card in it as well, which is kind of dope. Yeah, noise canceling is pretty awesome nowadays. Software noise canceling is really good. It's gotten a lot better than what it was before. And if you wanted sound canceling back then, it was super expensive. So, here we are. All right, are you ready to see this thing, Mr. Andrew? You want me to turn it? You let me know when you want to push that power button, Andrew. I'm waiting on you. Push that button. Did I forget to plug those in? Nah. Just wait. Just wait. No, it's so the memory. I'm sorry, my boom is connected to the same table that camera that we're on right now is connected to. So it's on the same table. Every time I move my boom, my camera goes boing. Anyway, the RAM has to go through a memory training session for the first boot. So it's going to go through and do this. Once it hits the BIOS, we should have the RGB strips turn on. But it is on. You just can't see. You can see maybe the curtain in the back waving from the wind. But it's pretty quiet. It says be quiet right there. Be quiet. Maybe I should have whispered through this whole thing. This whole build. I just don't have the right microphone for whispering. Oh yeah, dude, that would be pretty dope too. Yeah. Something else with that would be dope is an LCD AIO with gold member face from Austin Power. So yeah, dude, that would be pretty dope. That would be. Now these RGB strips, I feel like should be on right now. Please enter setup. We have post. The good news is the computer portion works. The RGB lights aren't on yet. Let me see if I have plug. Possible I unplugged something. We're going back to a top-down to figure out why these RGB strips aren't on yet. Ow. My finger went into the fan. It's okay, guys. I do this all the time. Okay. I had to have accidentally unplugged it back here while doing cable management. That had to have been what happened. Of course, it's going to be a bundle of joy. Yep, it's unplugged. Found it. Nice. Okay, so that happens a lot with cable management. One of the benefits from cable management is stuff gets unplugged while you're zipping cables down. Okay. Hey, thank you, Digital Altair, for the follow. Welcome to the build show. All right, almost there, guys. Hold on. We're gonna get these lights on. What we learned is sometimes when you cable manage too far, an addict like me, you unplug the cables by mistake. And what you're left with is lights that don't work. There we go. You want me to shut it back down and redo it? Redo the reveal? Okay. There we go. We've got light coming down from this top portion here, and I put another RGB strip on the other side, on the inside of it, so it's just glowing down. And I thought that would be a good effect. And it's also diffused, so it's going to look very smooth. That's fancy spicy, yes. We could add more if you need me to add more RGB. I've got more RGB strips here. I actually bought 2 extras just in case. All 3 of them. There they are. The R's, the G's, and the B's. Red, green, blue. Looks great. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you, Aaron, over on YouTube. Thank you, sir. Also, you had the idea of putting the... Oh, yeah, we already talked about that. Sorry, old comment. What's just white looking like? Haha, what? Oh, what's just white look like? I won't be able to control these RGBs because it's software controlled until I get Windows installed and then the Asus Armoury Crate installed. Once I have that installed, then I can adjust these colors. So I won't be able to show you. I can show you once I get it installed and send you a picture. A photo. Or we can do a video call and be like, hey, this is what it looks like. What do you think? Yes, warm white light. The move, yeah, I think like a yellow kind of look to it. Yellow light would go very nicely here. I also would like them to be a little bit brighter, but again, you know, if you're not looking through it, the camera, the lights are a lot better than what they look like on the camera, but it is not expressing the entire system correct. Late night reading light ambience. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I think that would look good. But if I added more and played around with it, would you hate me? What's your feeling? Do you need more, or do you like it as is? Looks really clean though. Overall, dig it, man. I'm not super big on too many lights. Yeah, I'm not super big on it either. You know, the insane rainbow barf, whatever you want to call it. I dig just the top even though, to be honest. Nice. Yeah, I mean, we'll be able to shut these off too. So if we want to shut that one off, for example, we can. So that's the cool thing about addressable RGB. And that these top lights and this light are on two different headers, so you can control the header at the header level where the connection is on the motherboard. Awesome job, Ben. I'll send you an update email in the morning. The build is going to be 100%. Awesome. Super excited to hear from you, Charles. I'll see you then. But yeah, this build turned out, I think, pretty sexy. I like the way the RGB is here at the top. I've done a couple of these. Actually, ironically, the last one I did very similar to this was another Be Quiet build, but it was a different case. Super dope build. Thank you. Yes, I think Andrew, you're going to be super happy with this one. But yeah, we're in the BIOS now. Sorry, the vape just kind of flew right across the camera there. We're in the BIOS now, so the CPU is obviously checking in because we're posting. And then the RAM's there, it's all 64 gigs. All 3 SSDs show up. Obviously, the graphics card works or we wouldn't get a display. So we're in pretty good shape. I mean, the last thing we got to do is install Windows, do all the driver updates, do the BIOS update, do the fan curve settings, set the AMD Expo profile, make sure that's set, and then start battle testing it, making sure all the components are running good and solid, and then I'll have this ready for you to pick up. I believe we went with the pickup option, and possibly an option for you to have me ship it if you're too busy or something like that, if I remember correctly. Anyway, we can talk about that offline. Cheers. Put the color together. I can't change the colors here in the BIOS. I'll be able to control the RGB once I get Windows installed and get the Armory Crate installed, and that'll take about a half hour to 45 minutes to get to that point. Armory Crate actually takes longer to install, set up, and get to the point where you can adjust RGB than it is to just install Windows, which Windows is like, I don't know, 20 times bigger than ASUS Armory Crate. Thanks for the stream, man. That was fun to watch. I actually have to head out as well. No problem, man. I enjoyed building it for you, and I hope you get as much use out of it when you pick it up. So text me if you need any answers. Yeah, no problem, man. I will let you know when I have it ready to go, but it should be within the next day or so. We should have it all set, wrapped up, and ready to go. Cool. Thanks everybody else who joined us. I hope you guys enjoyed the stream. We'll be streaming again tomorrow night. We have 2 builds tomorrow night total. So come join us again. All right, everybody. Have a good night. Happy building. We'll see you on Friday. Bye. Have a good night. Have a good night, jar of dirt. Dirt in a jar. Jeez, I always say jar of dirt. You could blame Disney for that one. Have a good night, Army vet. Maybe I've convinced you to change it.